the camera. If I've got a little sunlight slip down.
Yeah, I can see you perfectly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Got it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ultimate Human Experience Podcast. You already know who it is. It is your girl, Rashida, aka Righteous Sun. And on today's episode, we are welcoming in Hagen Fox. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Yes, share with family and friends and those who you feel will vibe with this message. With that being said, let's get into it. Welcome. I'm not even sure if I was saying your name right. Am I saying it right?
Nearly, Rashida. Hagen.
Hagen.
Yes, it. But you can call me what you want, Rashida. I'm cool with that. There's no problem. But yeah, officially Hagen. Yeah.
We had gone into the conversation already, but we'll circle back to the beginning because that always happens when you're talking with somebody who's like-minded. I always feel like our people's spirits get energized and excited because they're like, oh, another soul that I guess gets it, who can connect in that way and have those type of conversations. So we were talking about me. I'm always talking about the fact that I'm a Libra sun and Scorpio moon and rising. I don't think I realized how important and potent it is for those combinations. I really always focused on my Libra being like, I always want harmony. I always want balance. Like, even in my childhood, I always wanted the harmony and balance. And I never actually factored in the Scorpio piece until I got older and started to go into my chart. And then I was like, oh, that makes a little bit more sense how I interact with the world and how it receives me. So you can continue on that part.
Well, I will probably take you to places you never thought you'd go, Rashida, because the thing about astrology per se, because it's such, you know my backstory about Rashida or not?
I don't. So yeah, you can share your backstory.
I should start with that because your listeners will be like, who the hell is Hagen Fox? And that's a fair question. So effectively, my father was a cartographer in the Royal Air Force as a young man because he was obsessed with maps and numbers. And then when he left the Royal Air Force, still a young man, he became an astrologer. So my father was an astrologer for 45 years before me. And he actually beat you by one because he had 5 boys. So maybe you'll catch up at some point. But he had 5 boys. And I was the anointed son because I have a Virgo moon. I have an Aquarian ascendant, a Taurus sun. So I sort of hit that box. So he literally taught me astrology when I was 14. Wow. He literally taught me astrology and cartography when I was 14. Indeed, I left school when I was 15 because when I went back to school, once Dad started teaching me astrology, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is nonsense compared to what my father's teaching me right now. I literally left. I was gone. So I've studied astrology for nigh on 45 years. And you need that long. And the thing is, when you start in astrology, and it's difficult because you go, right, the doorway, the way in is sun sign, ascendant, and moon sign. That's the way in. But that is literally that's not even the tip of the iceberg, because in that metaphysical world, there is so much more going on. I mean, those 3 component parts probably represent no more than about 1% of who you are, what you are, your journey. There's so much more. There's the North Node of Western astrology you have to look at. Obviously, there's the moon, and then there's the house systems, and there's so many things that change. And one of the things that really frustrated me when I was a kid, any point, Rashida, but one of the things that interested me when I was a kid to me was I felt astrology was too generic. It was just like 12 sun signs, 12 moon signs. And that's why when I was 18, I fused Western and Chinese astrology, which is when I look at you, I'm seeing a Libran metal rooster with a Scorpio moon and with a Scorpio ascendant. And it's things like this. And there's so much more to it. You have to incorporate numerology. You have to incorporate cartography. You have to incorporate kind of Vedic astrology and the different systems, sidereal and tropical. I mean, it's all electromagnetic. It's all numbers. And I'm a numbers geek effectively. But to describe your combination, your Scorpio moon, of the 3 that you are, because you also probably think you're ruled by Venus, right?
Yeah.
But you're not ruled by Venus. Because one of the crazy things about astrology is that what happens is when someone decrees that a planet is ruled by a particular planet, it's normally in a male-driven ego right, that decrees something. One of the problems with life, Rashida, is that I'm a man, so I can absolutely annihilate the male ego, which I will proceed to do. It is a walking, talking disaster, the male ego. It is an unenlightened hunter-gatherer ego that listens to no one and listens to nothing. And it's very difficult. You find a gazillion enlightened women. When I do my consultations, I meet just absolutely like 95% of my followers are women on Instagram. And there's a reason for it, because women are enlightened and they get it. And the male ego is beyond blinkered. And it's really troublesome on a grand scale. And it's actually men that decree what planet rules, what star sign, etc., etc., etc. Libra is actually ruled by Eris. Libra sits opposite Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. And Eris, E-R-I-S, is the sister of Aries. And it sits opposite Aries. Eris is a phenomenal woman, and much more. I did a reel on my Instagram account. So I think it's one of the biggest reels I did, because every Libra woman came back and said, finally, finally. Did you see it or not?
Yeah, I think I did. I remember seeing that one. And that's when I think I was scrolling and I found you. And I was like, who is this person? And how is he, the way that you share it, it's like you're telling a story. And you're taking somebody on this adventure of who they are, which then gets them excited to continue on their adventure of this like life.
Well, it's so true in that storytelling is such a beautiful thing, and you have to tell it like a story. Eris' story, I'm sure you look it up afterwards, Rashida, but E-R-I-S, Eris, is a little gladiator, came from a very, very dark space, a really, really dark space, and is a real fighter, deeply humanitarian, cares about the welfare of everyone. And this is where their humanitarian aspect comes from. She cares about her own salvation, but she also cares about the salvation of everyone else as well. A deeply humanitarian, but also gladiatorial little character, a real, real fighter, right? And feisty and can be volatile. And you'll know, Rashida, any of your kids get on the wrong side or step out of line, man, they'll see the dark side of Libra. They are absolutely in an instant, right? They know they stepped out of line. And they're like, where has my beautiful, harmonious, wonderful, chill mother gone? Right? Still here, right? I'm still here, right? But there's two sides to a Libra. And the thing about Eris, and when Libra, Eris really shows in men. It shows in men. Librans are really volatile per se. It's not their fault, but they're truly volatile characters. And the reason is because it's feminine energy. Real gladiatorial feminine energy aligns with masculine testosterone. That's explosive. So whenever you meet a Libra man, and there are some wonderful Libra men out there, but it's very difficult. And I not blame the men themselves per se. It's very difficult to manage that energy when you're fusing this really powerful feminine energy, aligning it with masculine testosterone. That is right there, you know. And so first and foremost, you're ruled by Eris, and you should be proud to be ruled by Eris, because she's a fighter. And the reason that Librans covet and crave harmony so much is because she came from a dark place, and at the end of her gladiatorial fight every single day, she wants peace and calm and harmony. It's like, I've come from a dark place, I'm fighting all day long, I want to chill when I get back. So that's where the harmony aspect comes from Libra. And it's the madness of associating, like Taurus and Libra, they're poles apart in terms of their character. Like you look at a Taurus man, the Taurus man is super chilled, super relaxed. I'm a Taurus man. And I can barely haul myself out of bed in the morning. It's sort of this like, you know where you stand, you know what you're going to get. You have no idea what's coming your way with a Libra man. It's much more Aries energy. And Libra women in the workplace, you'll know it, I'm sure, and all Libra women out there, they fight. You don't want to go head-to-head with a Libra woman. You go head-to-head with any Libra woman. Just you're so used to this beautiful, kind, charming Libra nature, and then bam, from nowhere, like leopards, Jesus, and that is all Eris. So that's point one, right?
I think that's great. I love how you shared that, because that's very much me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's for all Libra women out there who think, I'm not some sort of like soft, cuddly Libran sort of mother. I'm a fighter, and you are. indeed, because you're all by Eris. So a bit of research on Eris, Eris, would be worthwhile for all your Libran followers.
Definitely.
For sure. Or subscribers, I should say. And then to come to your Scorpio moon, the Scorpio moon's a really interesting one, you know, because a lot of Scorpio moons arrive on terra firma with a real like shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. I can't.
That's podcast. Okay. You can absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say a shitload of baggage, because the thing about Scorpio women per se are they suffer at the hands of men all the time anyway. And the reason that they suffer at the hands of men is because Scorpio women, I did a little gig once at Netflix in London. They're like a corporate day. And this sums up Scorpio women for me. I said to the guys, okay, it's a hoi polloi, right, at Netflix. And I said to the guy, I said, would anyone like to suggest to me of the 24 sun signs, because there were 12 female and 12 male, would anyone like to suggest to me who they think the strongest character of the 24 is? And this little pocket rocket, no more than 5 foot tall, stood up. No, didn't stand up. She put her hand up. And she said, I think it might be me. She was from New York. I loved her. And I said, and your sun sign? And she said, I'm a Scorpio. And I'm like, correct answer. Strongest people on the planet, Scorpio women, stronger than all men. And men know it. And that's the reason that men always put Scorpios down. And they always have done. Because they're terrified of the Scorpio women. Scorpio moon is one of the 4 fixed moons as well. That's a great moon in terms of strength of character. For women, the strength of character derives primarily from the moon. That's where it comes. Because the consistency of a woman is absolutely, of her nature, is determined by the moon. And if you're a woman, you absolutely want to have one of the 4 fixed moons. As Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, you have to have one of those 4 moons, because it allows you to get through the day without this fluctuating emotion of estrogen and progesterone, and all this natural energy that flow through women. You need a stabilizing anchor as the fixed moon. So having a Scorpio moon is, in fact, I did a stat once. I like empirical evidence for everything I do in life. I thought, and I follow golf. I love golf. No, I mean, I'm terrible at playing it, but I'm fascinated by the mental strength required, because it's really, really it's technically the most difficult sport that exists. And so, of course, one day I just looked up out of curiosity the top 10 world players in the top 10 female golfers in the world. And I expected to see a few of the 4 fixed signs in there. Now, statistically, there should have been a third, should have been about 33%, should have been the 4 fixed sun signs, because obviously you got 4 groups of 3. Might make sense. Anyway, all 10, 100% were the 4 fixed signs. That's astonishing. That's insane. That's 3 times what it should have been. It should have been 33%. It was 100%. All 10 of the top 10 women of golf were either Taurus, Scorpio, or Aquarius, or Leo sun sign. And it just shows you why having a Scorpio moon is a beautiful thing, Rashida. Where did it come from? Because the karmic baggage that you can arrive with a Scorpio moon, anyone with a Scorpio moon needs to know it. In a previous lifetime, you were either, if you come with baggage, it means you were a wild child, badly behaved, very, very naughty in a previous lifetime, Rashida. I'm not saying, I don't think it's you. And if that's the case, you've got to make amends. You've got to spend the first 40 years of this lifetime being an absolute saint and sort of redressing that karmic imbalance. And then you can crack on and be very, very successful. Leo DiCaprio, Scorpio with a Scorpio moon, type thing. It's so like you can achieve great success. And he was probably one of the good Scorpios. I don't know, because there were, in a previous lifetime, 50% of the Scorpios would be badly behaved, and the other ones were enlightened. They were spiritually enlightened. They knew everything. They knew too much, Rashida. And they were the ones that were drowned, burned at the stake. You know what I mean? These are the ones. So I'm imagining that you were one of the poor ones that were thinking, well, this is a nice reward for being enlightened and sort of like ahead of the game. But that's often the case. And so having a Scorpio moon can be a blessing, or it could be something of a blight, because you've got to make amends for your previous karmic damage. 99% sure that you're the one that was treated in a merciless fashion in a previous incarnation. I meet loads of them. My father was one. My father had a Scorpio moon, and he was always wary of it. He loved it, but he always said to himself and said to me, I have to like stay on the straight and narrow, just in case, because he didn't know where he came from. So he was like, okay, I need to stay on the straight and narrow. So it's a great ascendant. And then this one, the last one, the Scorpio ascendant, is for your children, right? Because in astrology, in astrological law, Lore, the Scorpio ascendant is regarded as being the most beautiful. And so when you put that one in your back pocket, Rashida, so and you can just say to all your children, you may think you're four of the most beautiful creatures on planet Earth, and I do regard you as such. But just remember, who's got the Scorpio moon? Who's the most natural? Yeah, but just stick that one in your back pocket. But that's an astrological law, Lore. But that's just that would just kind of describe your Western side. But there's so much more to it, Rashida. I mean, there's there's numerical numbers, there's Vedic life lessons. I mean, there's so many things that you can that I could tell you, but I don't want to bore you. I mean, you've got questions you want to ask.
Oh, no. I love to hear this, because I think when we think about astrology, like you said, it's so generic, right? You'll open it up in the back of a magazine, you'll look in the newspaper, you'll go online, and you're gonna find your just generic piece, right? As a Libra, you're gonna get like one little blurb, and you're gonna hold that and take it with you, and maybe try to decipher it however you might think it will work in your life. But obviously, we know astrology has been around forever. And I think now we are in a time of like, really, people are now trying to understand a little bit more about astrology and how it can apply to them and how they can use it in their everyday life. Because I've always said that no matter, and maybe I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is that as we go into every different zodiac sign, you can harness that energy. There's little pieces of that energy that you can take from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, go on, Karen, keep going.
Yeah,
is that the question? I mean, but because I think one of the things, because it's difficult, because when you say, and it's not too much astrology, life is energy, and it's just pure energy. If you're say like a Virgo, for example, sun, that's a shocking nervous system, but it's not what you take. So when you have a Virgo sun, it's a brilliant strategist. It's very disciplined. It's very organized. It's very structured. So you have to understand yourself. It's like, where do my strengths lie? Now, if you're an Eris sun, you're fully, truly energized, and you need to distill that energy in a progressive and positive fashion. But it's more about a natal chart, if I'm honest, Rashida, is a real problem, because in life, again, you'll know this yourself, right? The answer is normally right in front of you, right in front of you. When I go into a natal chart, I spend under probably 30 seconds to 60 seconds when I look at a natal chart. That's it. Because all the information I need, and you and everyone else, is right in front of you. You really only need to extract primarily 4 things from a natal chart. It's the sun, the ascendant, the moon, and the north node. The north node, the south node. You know about the south node and north node, right? The sort of like you arrive courtesy of the south node, and you're heading towards the north node. So you really need to understand that. But that's the only 4 key pieces of information you need. And then you've got the 4 angles: the ascendant, descendant, midheaven, and imam coli. Those 4 angles. You also want to look at any aspects that are approaching 3 degrees and in one of those angles. Very little information is required. And what Western astrologers do, and this is where it goes horribly wrong, they go way too deep. They'll go, oh, you've got such and such conjunct, 6 or 7 degrees in the 9th house. Absolutely irrelevant and truly redundant. The problem with life, there's this great quote, Rashida. It's such a great quote. American. I'm a huge fan of America and Canada. Because you're Canadian, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. I've got such a good friend, a Canadian called Monique, a superstar, and every time I mention America, she goes, and Canada. So anyway, but ultimately, this guy's from Nevada, and this is the absolute essence of astrology, because astrology is all about interpretation. It's the ability to distill the information into a layman-like response. It's the key, right? all astrologers. I loathe every single astrological podcast out there, because it's just astrological language, but not delivered in a way that's in any way, shape, or form easy to understand. It's just a nonsense. It barely makes sense to an astrologer. It just doesn't have it. The ability to distill this information, and it comes courtesy of this quote: "The essence of mathematics, and bearing in mind that astrology is pure mathematics, it's electromagnetism, it's all that energy powering its way down from the ethereal realm and just hitting us like minions, like a ton of bricks every single day. The essence of mathematics is not to complicate the simple, it's to simplify the complicated." That's the essence of not just astrology, it's life, right? And this is the problem. Everyone overcomplicates everything for the most part to just justify the cost. You know what I mean? It's madness, right? But the answer is always right in front of you. And the gifted, the most talented people out there are the people that, like, when they excel in their particular genre or area of life, and they deliver it in this fantastically uncomplicated fashion, but losing none of the accuracy and the integrity. That's the key. Is this the ability to interpret, losing none of the accuracy and the integrity? This is the gift of people with not the greatest gift. Otherwise, everything becomes subjective. This is like the difference between objectivity and subjectivity is key in astrology, because it's such a massive topic. It's such a massive topic. Like, when, just for example, if you're a psychic, just as an example, it's relevant to you, Rashida, because being a psychic is a really tough gig, really, really tough gig. And you know why? It's because it's so fantastically subjective. It's insane, right? I mean, and it goes beyond interpretation. I mean, because when you're a psychic, you have hundreds of interpretations at your disposal, right? Where do you go? Now, with astrology, which is pure mathematics, it's so easy to be objective. It's just like, I know the answer. So there is literally only one answer, and it's the ability to actually be able to interpret it. Yep, that's the answer, and then deliver it in a way that is easy to understand. So I have a lot of time for psychics. But the thing about psychics is, this is why the Pisces moon is the true #1 psychic. And also, if you have a double M on your hands, you won't be able to see it, but there's a double M there. If you've got a double M on your hands, you're a natural healer. But the true psychic is the Pisces moon, a Virgo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, because they're the indigo children. But it's still a really, really difficult gig because it's too subjective. The best forms of astrology, if anyone's interested in getting into astrology, is the astrology that allows you to be truly objective. Is that. And the deeper you go, to go back to my original point, the deeper you go into a natal chart, the more subjective it becomes. That's the problem. It's right in front of you. Once you get to be an astrologer, when you know you're a good astrologer when you can look at a natal chart and within 2 minutes you're out. You've got all the information you need, and then you can spend 2 or 3 hours talking that character through just their Western chart. But that's not even going anywhere near Chinese astrology, because of course you're a metal rooster in Chinese astrology, and that brings a whole nother layer into play.
So then, do you think that it is important to combine what we now have as like Western astrology to all of the other ones, like you said, like the Vedic astrology? And do you say, I don't want to say which one is more important than the other, but which one do you want to, a lot of people now want to focus on one that is more traditional, more the original versus what we're given every day?
Well, this is the, by the way, I'm very glad you're doing this podcast, Rashida, because I love your questions. I really love the way you ask her. You can tell you're a woman who gets astrology, understands astrology, and I'm very, very glad you're doing this podcast. By the way, a Libra metal rooster is a natural businesswoman on every single level. I cannot tell you, right? So I just want that you need to know that, because this has great potential. That question is such a great question, because we now live, I'm actually doing, there's a big Mind, Body, Spirit show in Birmingham in November. I don't normally do those shows because I'm a hermit. I live in a cave. That's kind of where that's my gig. But they dragged me out of the cave because I'm doing the speech at the Mind, Body, Spirit show. And what I'm saying is, the speech is basically to say it is not enough in the age of Aquarius. And I'll talk about the age of Aquarius because it's real player. It's not enough in the age of Aquarius to be just a Western astrologer. You have to understand every last single metaphysical energy. It's very difficult to become a young astrologer now, because you're not going to be able to to really become part of the fabric of the astrological universe for about 20 years. But it's worth the investment. It's worth the journey. But you need a minimum of 2 decades because, yeah, for like when I do a consultation, as an example, I cover Vedic astrology, Chinese astrology, Western astrology, cartography, and numerology. And I fuse them all together because these energies are working interactively every single second of your life. And you need to know whether they're working progressively or negatively, proactively or non-proactively, in your favor or against you. And it's constant. And so this speech I'm doing is to say, start, commence. But like there's 5 points. You can't just start here and then sort of diverge type thing. You need to just have a basic understanding of all the astrology, literally Vedic, and with the Chat GPT and all these, the knowledge is so, it distills it for you. And I'm very pro AI. I don't know whether you're pro AI because everyone's kind of fearful of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are fearful. I hear it constantly, but I also think like you're going to go into like the age of Aquarius and technology and the evolution of it. I'm here for it, right? On a spiritual aspect, evolution is going to happen. And I think it's really important for us to find a way to merge and connect in a way that allows us to move forward in a way, whether people say positive or negative, however that looks, but like in a way that allows us to continue to expand.
Rashida, I do love your mind. Yeah, you're right. Basically, it's that. Let's go back to the age of Aquarius. Let's go back to 21/12, 2012. You remember that day, right? When the world was meant to end, yeah?
Yeah.
But it didn't. But on that day, it was actually the end of the Industrial Revolution and the beginning of the age of technology on that very day. But what people need really to understand, and these are big stats that are never spoken about, that really should be spoken about. We entered the age of Aquarius on 21/12/2012. And that was the first time the human race had been in the age of Aquarius for 2,400 years. Before Christ, the last time we humans were even in the age of Aquarius, right? So no one has any idea how it's meant to pan out. Uranus, who rules the age of Aquarius, is an absolute maverick, but it's utopian mindset. So the age of Aquarius is a 200-year cycle. It's a 200-year cycle, 2012 right the way through to 2212. So the age of technology, every one of us will live and die in the age of technology. Any single individual who just blocks it off goes into sort of like, I've got my house I worked hard for, my garden, my little piece of land, I'm gonna just protect it with my life. Wrong mindset. You can't do it. It's just like you have to understand, you have to keep pace with AI. The reason is there are 5 fundamental things that this planet, right, which is 68 times the size of Earth, Uranus, and has 28 moons. That energy is running your life for every breath you take here on in, because there's another 100 years left of that journey. So if you want to lock yourself in a little shed for another 180 years, good on you. Okay, it'll be a peaceful life, but not very exciting. No, the thing about people need to understand what Uranus is all about. And what does Uranus want? Number one thing Uranus likes is change. It's all about change. Uranus's cycle is elliptical. It goes like this. So it's just like consistent, bam, consistent, bam. It's this. And that's truly representative of the age of Aquarius. It's changeable. That's Uranus's number one thing. So if you won't change, if you're not willing to change on one level, you're pretty much done for. You don't have to change, but be aware of it, be receptive to it, be acceptive, right? Just like, okay, if the opportunity arises, it's the age of Aquarius. Uranus will help me. Absolutely. Just have that kind of mindset. That's number one. Part two is that Uranus and the age of Aquarius is all about the collective. It's deeply humanitarian. It's all about well-being and wellness. And it starts with the individual, you and I. Sort of, okay, let me get my own shit together, right? First off, right? Okay, Rashida and Mr. Fox have finally got their act together. Now let's sort of go out there and with a collective mindset, just do what we're doing. That's very much Uranus as well. Then there are 3 other parts that kind of come together. It's originality and innovation and AI, all ruled by Uranus. And what Uranus is saying is, like over here, we have a show called Strictly Come Dancing, probably something over there. Uranus looks at a show like that, Strictly Come Dancing, series 2055. And Uranus is like, No, unoriginal, non-innovative. Start being original. Start getting out together. Anyone, you have to step it up. What the Age of Aquarius is saying is that if I can do it, if AI can do it, you're below the bar. You got to step above the bar. There's a guy I love. He's a musician called Ren, Ren. Phenomenal musician. It's like he's turning music into like an art form. And the reason I love him as a poster boy for the Age of Aquarius, he's doing things right now that AI won't be able to do in 200 years' time. And that's what AI wants. AI is like that. Well done, Ren. It's like, I want everyone, this is what Uranus is all about. So I just want you to step up. I'm here to act as a barometer. Step above the bar. You've got to step above the bar. Then, because what Uranus is saying is there hasn't been a decent movie since the 1990s and the 1970s, or whatever else. It hasn't, you know, it's true. There's just nothing. It's just like, you know, Marvel, whatever. It's just like, be original. And this is what the Age of Aquarius is all about. It's about, I want you to be original and innovative. So if you're doing something, if you've got years of experience doing something, don't switch careers. Take your knowledge and infuse it with something else. Like, I was a Western astrologer for about 4 years, between 14 and 18, and then I infused it with Chinese astrology and stuff like this. And one is solar based and one is lunar based. They work in perfect harmony. And it's just, you've got to I mean, I'm very left-handed. I'm so left-handed, and it's a joy to be left-handed, right? I love it. And the reason it's a joy to be left-handed because in the Age of Aquarius, this is where all the good shit is up here. Like in the right side of the brain, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Well, I always say to people, whenever you make notes, if you're right-handed, use your left hand because you immediately engage this. And the reason that musicians, it's brilliant to be a guitarist as well because you're using both hands, you're using both sides of the brain. Because all the good shit is up here. All on the right side of the brain, it's numbers, it's mathematics, it's language, it's problem solving, it's creativity, it's visualization. All the good shit is on the right side of the brain. The only thing on the left hand side of the brain is it just sticks a picture on the wall, thinks logically, and it's a very, very restrictive, like sort of box to be right-handed in that respect. Right-handers make life function, but the inspiration and the originality and the visualization, the forward thinking. The ultimate left-hander was Leonardo da Vinci, who was like, you know, he's basically designing helicopters hundreds of years before the component parts were even available because he could visualize them, because he was left-handed. Uranus, the Age of Aquarius, is very much a left-handed gig. It's like you've got to go. So I say to literally every single right-hander out there, when you're making notes, and if you want to become way more creative and innovative, start playing a musical instrument that uses both hands, drums and guitar, whatever else, violinist. Start making notes with your left hand. You will open up some magical little pathways on the right side of the brain. Can't be left-handed enough in the Age of Aquarius because it's about innovation and originality, and you need to be able to visualize it. You need to be able to picture it.
Yeah, so I love how you're saying that, because I think when we talk about the masculine and feminine energy, masculine is the right side and the feminine is the left.
Well, no, masculine is the left side because that's because the right hand is used the left hand side of the brain, right? And it's just like, and so for me, it's like the right-handers are the left brain, and us left brain, we use the right side of the brain. So, but what your points you're making, Rashida, is right, is that the left male is very much the left side of the brain. That's represented by the male, whereas the right side, the creative side, is very much represented by the feminine. Absolutely. They're enlightened. Women listen. Fundamental difference between men and women, and it just does your head, it blows your mind, right? So I love women. I love strong, powerful, open-minded, enlightened women. And I love strong, powerful, enlightened men, but they don't exist. It's a major problem. It's like they're getting it very slowly, but like it's just beautiful. This is why I'm really happy to have primarily. I'm really happy to do a podcast with a woman, because women ask enlightened questions, like intelligent questions, because they get it, because they made time for it, type thing. Anyway,
I do appreciate that. What do you then, can I ask this then? When it comes to men and women, we're now in this time where I feel like we're seeing this shift in the world where it's starting to move towards more of that feminine energy that has been suppressed for so long, and it's starting to come back to, it's starting to rise up to the surface. But like a lot of people out there, when you ask them, I'm big on like, what's your zodiac sign? Like somebody can give me like a story and they'll tell me what happened and like everything that arises, and right away I'm like, well, what's their sign? And then I'll be like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Whereas some people will be like, especially men, they're like, I don't do that. I don't care about that stuff. And I'm like, how could you not? It is so important on how you connect, how you have a relationship with people.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely true. I literally, I love the company of men. I love the company of men. I hang out with the boys because boys, they just meet up and they just talk dumb stuff, dumb shit. It's an escapism for boys. We just escape. We don't talk. There's no emotion. There's no tears. It's just dumb stuff. It's sport or whatever it is, sort of thing. So I will always big up the men. And then we are great protectors. You know, I would die in a nanosecond for my daughter. You know what I mean? It's just like men have these great qualities. Their intentions, for the most part, are literally for the most part honourable, genuinely honourable. And I adore being a man. The man has one problem, and it's the ego that possesses it. Right? The ego always says, if I don't know about it, it is not worth knowing. Right? And the best men you meet are the ones that have fought like a dog to overcome that ego. I had to go through it. Every man in particular has to overcome its internal ego because it just shuts everything down. I have been to a gazillion dinner parties where I've sat around a table with men talking about plywood. I mean, truly boring, monotonous dinner parties. At some point, the women around the table, the enlightened women would say, Mr. Fox, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm an astrologer. And they'd be like, fascinating. How interesting. All the boys to a man, this is what was his point, will say, oh, it's nonsense. It's utter nonsense. I will then say, this happens constantly. It's like a comedy in a way, Rashida. I will then say, gentlemen, I'm not here to defend astrology at all. I do have a question for you. Would any of you like to tell me what astrology is measured in? Deathly silence. I say, okay, well, I'll enlighten you. It's measured in degrees, minutes, and seconds. It's a purely mathematical system. It's pure numbers, pure mathematics. Now, at this point, an enlightened man would say, well, that's very interesting. Continued silence, because all those egos will be shouting at you internally, going, but it's numbers, it's numbers, it's numbers. And the ego is saying, don't say a thing. Say nothing. This is the problem with man. The age of Aquarius, I mean, it's true to say that there's a few men filtering through when I do my consultations, right? There's a few starting to filter through. A lot of young men, but also a few, I mean, very few in the like 50s and 60s. It's too far gone, but a few are starting to sort of like be thinking, actually, this can benefit me enormously, or at least to understand my wife. Because this is the thing about relationships, Rashida, you and I know it. There is absolutely no correlation between men. There's 5%, roughly 5% correlation between men and women. Men are 100% testosterone, women, estrogen, progesterone, and maybe somewhere between 5 and 10% testosterone. So max, the only correlation between men and women is at the very best 10%. Right? That's a reality of life. And so if men are thinking, okay, just like by the natural laws of life, we're not really compatible, but astrology could truly enlighten me and take us to maybe being 50, 60, 70% understanding one another and how each other works. Why would I not embrace it? Because of your idiotic ego, my friend. It's just this. It's just crazy. Because relationships are a nightmare. Look at lads living apart together, you know, huge in California. You know, it's like, and it's like, there's a reason why that works. Is because they'll come together about 10% of the time when that testosterone kind of aligns. It's just like relationships are the most difficult thing on the planet. Like really, truly are. The best relationships are friendships because you can come and go. You know what I mean? There's no commitment. Family, commitment. Work colleagues, commitment. Personal relationships, commitment. They're a nightmare. You're dealing with relationships, and also you're dealing with like people that are not always kind of consistent. You can't extricate yourself from that kind of environment. So you're right to say that relationships are, but obviously you've got a great one because you have 4 children, Rashida. So clearly you chose well.
I think that is just
I don't
me
know.
learning over time, right? Like, to be honest, my partner is an Aries, so we're the opposite side. You know what I mean? We're on the opposite part
Oh
of the
yeah.
chart. Yeah, so it's really interesting.
That's the one you shouldn't date, is the one that sits opposite. But here's the crux, right? The one that we're most physically attracted to is the one that sits opposite. Because I sit opposite Scorpio women, and I find Scorpio women ludicrously attractive, and it's like I can't go there because. But here's the thing: this is where Chinese astrology comes into it, right? Because what a Western astrology would say is like, ah, oh, that's 0% Aries and Libra, and then enlightened astrology will go, hold on a second. Let's look at the Beis astrology, the Chinese astrology. Let's look at the day mark. Let's look at the year. So I would then say to you, now I know you're a metal rooster. I would then say to you, what year is he born? Your partner. What year? What year is he born?
1980.
1980. So he's a metal monkey, right? So he's an Aries metal monkey. Actually, I'm just laughing at the fact that you actually married an Aries metal monkey. That is a man's man on every single level. It's just it's a classic hardcore. That's a very uncomplicated man. What you see is absolutely what you get. There's no, secret, sensitive side. This is just all man, all masculinity. Doesn't always think, right? It doesn't always engage his brain. That combination of Aries and the metal monkey together is just like, well, you didn't stop and think. And you'll be saying that to him many, many times. It doesn't have a brain, that combination. But that's a lovely man, a happy man, a man's man, a dedicated man. I love an Aries man. And actually very, very ambitious, the Aries and the metal monkey, hugely energized. And so you look at the monkey and the rooster, and the monkey and the rooster get on very, very well. They're both really ambitious, both really driven characters, those two. So they align very, very much there. You got 2 metal elements, right? Because you're a metal monkey, metal rooster. He's a metal monkey. And the 2 metal elements, right? They are very inflexible. So when you two disagree, that's a little war zone waiting to happen when you two disagree. Because 2 very strong characters, the metal element doesn't yield. It doesn't acquiesce. So it's either one of you has to have the common sense to walk away. Highly unlikely it's your boy. But having said that, the Libra women are really, they will fight the good fight to the end. It's like, no, you need to understand the point I'm trying to make here. But that's the only downside to the relationship there. Aries and Libra. I love the fact that's, 4 kids, because that's the physical attraction right there. The monkey and the rooster are on the same page, and the 2 metal elements, when everything's calm, when you two are on the same page, it's magical, right? But the moment you go head to head, that's a real problem. Very rare. You have to walk. You just have to walk away. It's just like, okay, we're done. You have to walk away. Otherwise, it just will escalate. That's what, because you're 2 very strong characters in the same relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. But the 2 characters have to understand that, and you do as you get older. Okay, we both know that neither of us is going to acquiesce here. So let's just call it quits. And then I have the same, my partner, BB, she's one of the strongest women on the planet. So we'll just go head to head for 2 minutes. And then I'll just say, now, what do you want, a coffee or a tea? She'll be like, I'll have a coffee, darling. But you know what I mean? It's just like, you just get on with life. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just that.
What's her sign? You said you're a Taurus, so what is she?
Well, I love her. I'm still standing because of BB. A lot of men will say that. A lot of men will say that. She reminds me of that every single day. She's Taurus. Okay. So when you have 2 Taurians, it's absolute war zone, 2 Taurians. But BB, I'm a very easygoing wood dragon. I'm very, very easygoing, pretty chilled, right? And BB is a very sweet-natured pig. So the Taurus is absolutely as minus 0%. It's shocking. It's a war zone, right? But the pig and the dragon are very, very compatible. They get on very, very well. It's a very easy energy. It's very kind of cordial. It's quite decadent, quite indulgent, just kind of chilled and happy, optimistic, easy energy. So when everything's great, it's beautiful. But when the 2 Taurians go head to head, it's absolute Armageddon. Absolute Armageddon. But as you get older, you don't even get to that point of Armageddon. We just look at each other and go, well, we know where this is going to go. You just rein it in. But this is what I do think one of the beautiful things about relationships is that if you're willing to, you do learn, right? I know, right? Myself, BB's also got an Eris moon, which is absolutely brainless. It's the most volatile. She's Taurus, right? So basically, BB is a short-tempered dictator on one level. but the sweetest soul you'll ever meet. Do you know what I mean? But this is the beautiful thing. When I fuse Western and Chinese astrology, and that's 1,440 characters right there, right? 1440, and over 2 million one-to-one dynamics. And you're trying to find your soulmate in that 2 million. That's why relationships are so complex. That's why I fuse the two systems, because it absolutely breaks down the characters. It distills it. Right? When I look at you, you've got Libra, unbelievably strong. Metal, super strong. Rooster, super strong. Which one is the most dominant aspect of all three? Is you probably go a third, but with some, if you've got like a Scorpio, water, pig, for example, the Scorpio will represent about 60% of that character. You know what I mean? Because it's they're all little weighted systems. All these 1,440 characters are all weighted. Where's my strength? With you, it's all three. It's literally, I could break it down to a third. But with a lot of people, certain characters, like my mother is a Gemini water goat. Gemini, the least strong female sun sign. Water, the least strong element in Chinese astrology. And the goat, the least strong animal. And so my mother, literally, she barely gets out the front door, goes in a car, drives somewhere, and comes, just not strong enough to handle life. And there's a really interesting statistic, actually, Rashida. It makes me laugh in a way. In China, it's shocking, right? But it's an absolute stat, and it still exists. In China, the abortion rate in China goes up tenfold once every 12 years. It's still happening. It's incredible. And it's in the year of the goat, because the Chinese don't want anyone born in the year of the goat, because they regard them as not being strong enough to handle life. And my mother is really indicative of that. Is they just haven't got, they need constant love, constant reassurance. If you have a child born in the year of the goat, you need to understand they're beautiful people. I mean, really beautiful. But you need to understand they need love every single day. Doesn't matter whether they're 8 or 80. They need constant love and admiration. It's insane. It's just, I mean, it's a shocking stat. But on one level, it actually points you directly to Chinese astrological knowledge. They did hundreds of years of research before they even created the system. They studied the people born in that particular year. Right? What are the characteristics that most represent? Which animal do they most represent? They did this for hundreds of years before an emperor whose name escapes me right now finally said, okay, now we're ready to create this beautiful system called Beizai astrology. The years of research and knowledge that goes into Chinese astrology blows your mind. I mean, I know Western astrology goes back to Babylonian times, but the problem with Western astrology, it's been manipulated and sort of like recalibrated dozens of times by mostly men over the years, right? It's been bastardized, really, and overcomplicated to such an insane degree. Chinese astrology hasn't changed once. Nothing's changed. System created, never changed. Nothing has changed. This is the problem. Vedic astrology are the same. This is how it is. This is how it will always be. Western astrology, it's just men getting away, start meddling. It's like, no, the left brain, like logical side. Okay, well, logically that shouldn't be. Yes, but it's symbolic, right? It's symbolism. This is the whole point. If you say the word symbolism to a man, he just starts yawning. He just doesn't get it. Doesn't understand the power of it. It's just like it is the most beautiful thing. I mean, really, and you don't have to understand everything in order to understand that it works. This is the problem with men. It's just like they have a mechanical mindset. You say, well, how does it work? Well, actually, no one knows. Well, then how do you know it works? There's the evidence. It's just like, this is just, anyway, I love boys. I love the boys. They're great. I love hanging out with the boys, but I just want them to, just,
do you think it's important though? I do feel like we're now in a time, because I have a son and he's 19, and well, he just knows his mom. We're going to have conversations like this, especially as he gets older in life, right?
Yeah.
And he's a Virgo son. So
Ooh,
I definitely know that the way his brain works is they're inside their mind constantly and trying to decipher.
Is he 2006?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a Virgo 2006. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh man, but Rashida, this is one of the most sensitive boys on the planet, man. He's so sensitive. He's a Virgo fire dog. This is why these 1,440 characters are magical, because his nervous system is wretched, man. I mean, he worries about every single thing. I mean, I always say to Virgos, right? They got like a 4-hour window when they can really output and get all their work done. A Virgo fire dog should never be work. And also, there's a great, so I see him as like a music engineer or something like that with that kind of combination. But he has to, with his, he's lucky to have you as a mum, because that little fire, the Virgo fire dog, is susceptible to criticism, to energy, to negative energy, to surroundings, to environment. Everything affects him. Because he's double that Virgo dog combination. He's lucky he's a fire element. That gives him a bit of a kick, right? But that Virgo dog combination right there is barely get out the front door. He would have been a really nervous kid when he was younger. He would have been terrified of everything when he was young. See everything.
Yeah.
No, but that's why having a super strong mom is just like, and you understand, and we understand. Life's brutal, and so But there is one thing. If I said anything about what's his name,
Marcus.
The one thing was Marcus needs to say to himself, and probably come courtesy of mum as well, is he cannot work in an aggressive environment. He has to have. It's impossible for him. He has to have a calm, supportive family-esque. The dog is all about family. He may not even leave home. I'll be honest. Yeah, he has no intention of leaving home, but it needs to be because family is everything to Marcus. The dog is obsessed with family. In Chinese astrology, the number one family animal is the dog. They love family, loves family. He's never happy than when he's around the family.
You're spot on with that. Yeah.
That's it. No, he's just like, you want to go out with, the boys, go out with your girlfriend. No, I'm going to chill with the clan. Thank you very much. It's a dog mindset. And that Virgo thing, because the thing about the Virgo thinks so much, but that worries the dog. It puts the fear of God into the dog. This is how it works. This is the dynamics. Why you have to fuse Western and Chinese. So this little, like, beautiful Virgo who's trying to work out stuff suddenly goes, oh my God, that's terrible. And the dog goes, what do you mean terrible? Why? No, you know what I mean? It's literally what happens. So but I mean, a super talent. I mean, there's nothing you can't do. I mean, that's a brilliant combination. I mean, fun enough, you go back to, I tell you, there's something you can do, which is really interesting. It's a fun game I say to people to play. Go back to 1946, the last time a whole tranche of fire dogs were born. Who were the most successful Virgo fire dogs born in 1946? Because that often acts as an inspiration. Because I'm saying combination of Salvador Dali, like Taurus Wood Dragon. I'm not an artist, but he was always been an inspiration for me because my mother says to me, when are you going to get a job? And just thinks I'm completely mad. Always describes me as mad. And it was always really, I love my mom. But it's always been helpful for me to have Salvador Dali because he was described as mad from about the age of 3 or 4. Absolute inspiration for me because he knew he was on the right path, as did I. So it didn't matter what, people would just say, oh, he's just bonkers, he's mad, he's around the twist. I go straight to Salvador Dali and go, no, he knew and so do I. We know exactly what we're doing. So it's often quite cool if any of your children get a little lost. Go back 60 years and see who the most successful combinations were that are the same as them. It's kind of cool thing. And often you might not see an inspiration there, but they will. Marcus will be like, oh, man, I love that guy. Who the hell's that? And it might be somebody neither of you have ever heard of. So that's
you're totally right.
It's one to bear in mind for someone like Marcus. He'll need you. He'll need you and Dan.
So appreciate that. How important is it? I'm really big in my family to really utilize astrology and their signs on how we're building relationship, because so of course I'm the Libra, so I've got that air, but I got the Scorpio, which is water. Then my partner is Eris, but he's got the Pisces in there. And then I got 2 Virgos, a Sag, and an Aries. So I know that, like, I've got some fire signs in there. I got some earth on the air. I really do kind of tap into those elements sometimes, especially when we are interacting. And sometimes, as a parent, they're growing. So they're going to come at you at any different point with whatever they're bringing. And sometimes I got to step back, especially, with all of them. With the Virgo, I know that they need a little bit more grounding. And with, like, the fire sign, she's a fiery one. But I know that, like, with my air sign, I could probably, like, temper the fire a little bit, maybe sprinkle water on there.
Rashida, I tell you what you're doing though. I tell you what you're doing here. You're overcomplicating it. There's way too many thought processes there. Way too many. Because as a mother, and a brilliant mother that you are, as a Libra metal rooster, it's like you're so strong, you think you can fix everything. But you have to come right back, right? Yeah, because you guys got this element here, got a bit of water, got a bit of this, and also the most powerful elements of the elemental world is the Chinese elements, the five: metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. The elements of Western astrology are not real players. You really want to look at the Chinese elements. They are major players. The interaction between the Chinese elements, that's relevant. So it's like, you've got two are 100% compatible, two is 0% compatible, and one is neutral. So that's really, you can do well to investigate that. But the first thing you should be saying to yourself, and this is what people don't often think about, okay? Because when there's a family of two children, you're like, okay, well, that's 6 dynamics, right there. Just 6 interactive dynamics. That's workable. And what people never think of, and it always blows my mind, they think, well, we have one more child. No, that's not one more child. 4 more dynamics. You go from 6 dynamics to 10. And then you think, actually, no, we'll have one more child. Then you have 4 children. You go from 10 dynamics to 15. So in your household, you've got 15 constantly interactive energies going on. That's not manageable. But as a parent, you think, I can manage that. No, you can't. Because one is, you don't know how many of those are positive energies and how many are negative, unless you're an astrologer. And this is why when there was a survey done, actually, I think back in the early 70s, about the perfect size team, because a family is effectively a team. And so whenever you are stood there in the corner of the kitchen watching the shit show of 5 individuals unfolding before you, where me and I, if I had that many children, I'd be thinking, this is not going to resolve itself. These are 15 energies. Well, with you're out of it, it's still 10 interactive energies that you're watching unfold there. You just got to laugh and smile and just think, this is something like, we as humans should just let life play out. Don't intervene. Don't try and fix everything. We, as individuals, as humans, we feel we can fix everything. We can fix virtually nothing. The energy up there, Uranus, 68 times the size of Earth, is that energy up there will eventually distill everything into a working sort of situation. It's like, what you should be doing is like, okay, once you understand the elements, like for example, BB's a metal element in my relationship, and I'm a wood, so her metal cuts down my wood, right? But Bonnie, my daughter, she's a fire element, and so her fire melts BB's metal, and actually my wood supports Bonnie's fire. So when she arrived, it really created a much more harmonious environment. So it works kind of both ways. So when BB and I have been 2 Taurians, Bonnie's energy walks in the room. It distills everything in a beautiful way. Understanding which elements work best in your family, which, who is the most compatible here, which one because when there's a disturbance or like this, just disorder is about to implode, it's like, okay, who's the cog in those 5 who's causing all the grief? Which element is the problem here? Just extricate that little cog, that little element. Because in a team, there's a cog that makes everything work, but often you put too many cogs in, you've got to remove one of the cogs, and then everything order is restored. So it's really about understanding them as individuals, then understanding which ones of those 15 dynamics, which you can work them out. This is all the kind of stuff I do. Like I build algorithms that will work out who's the cog in the family, who didn't, all this sort of jazz. But this is the thing about astrology and dynamics, and it's all mathematics. It's all inextricably linked. So because you got 4 kids and you got 15, so you should always say to yourself, yes, there are 15 constantly interactive moving elements here. And then you add into that the fact that they've all got Vedic astrology, Chinese astrology, Western astrology, numerology working, driving themselves. It implodes. You just go to thousands of computations of outcomes. How's it going to resolve itself? So always the best way is just to say, I'm a great mom, I'm a strong mom. So I just let this just play out. And because that's the best way. We just ask someone to just walk away. We as humans can't fix things, really, literally. We can fix things that are broken, but when it comes to human emotion, this is invisible energy working on a grand scale. And it's like one human being isn't going to sort it out. I mean, that would be my attitude towards it. Even if you've got two kids, that's still six dynamics constantly interacting. And then if four of those dynamics are negative, as in the compatibility with the members of that family are fundamentally negative and not positive, this is when a divorce kicks in, because the energy is constantly negative. It just grinds you down. So it's always worth knowing, okay, which energies in of those 15, how many are positive? And then, okay, if it's 50-50 or even 60-40 negative, let's make sure that I create an environment where the good energies are together more often than the negative energies. Like myself and my brother, he's a great musician, we're 0% compatible. And I had myself and my middle brother, I'm the eldest, and the mean dynamic of our family was just over 60%. And when my youngest brother was born, he obliterated the mean dynamic, took it down to 28, obliterated it, because he arrived and he's compatible with no one. So this is, is this like that overnight? Absolutely obliterated the family. It's just, this is what happens. He's still the black sheep to this day. So it's like, it's about understanding that there are invisible energies at play constantly, and as much as we want to think we can resolve it, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Hope that matters. A long answer. Sorry.
No, I think that's great. It kind of just ties into the fact that we're in this human experience, and sometimes, we do, if not all the time, overcomplicate it on a regular basis. I'm learning that it's better and easier to simplify and to really breathe into every experience rather than trying to control it.
Yeah,
I got well from that space of control, and then moving into a space of bringing those together and becoming whole, right?
Yeah,
we're going to have both that negative and positive energies. It's part of that experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely is. No, I mean the ability, the desire of the human being to control a situation, any given situation. And it's like, especially when really in reality you're not in control of it. But then you just it's simplifying it, but you simplify it in your own mind. That's what you do. You don't go into the situation and try to simplify it. You simplify it in your own mind first, and then apply that simplified approach. But it's always good to take a breath and go, okay, you just stood there on the outlier, just watching that shit show in front of you, just thinking, okay, let me just try and simplify the situation. And then if you are going to try and resolve, but you cannot apply the word simplification to life often enough. The answer always lies in the simplification of an existing equation. The answer is a simplified answer is always right in front of you, constantly in life, in whatever situation.
I appreciate it.
But Rashida, this has been most enjoyable. Am I able to say to you that if anyone wants to touch base with me, that can I give you the email address they should go to? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can share. I was just about to say, like, how can people connect with you? I know I have so many friends who follow you, so they're going to be excited to hear this conversation.
So you must say, honestly, it's literally Canada and America and Australia. They're my 3 major markets. So really, like they comprise about 65-70% of the people that follow me, because these are enlightened nations or enlightened women. Please say hi to all the girls that follow me, and I very much appreciate it. Now, if they want a consultation or whatever, if they go to hagenfox.org, and it's a little website. It's a website with a booking, and it gives you the choice of consultations you can have, etc., etc. So it's Hagen Fox, HAGANFOX.org, hagenfox.org, and all the information they need will be there. But I'm Rashida. It's been a delight. I didn't know what your birthday was. You only said Libra Metal Rooster. I'm very happy because I'm ridiculously compatible with the Libra Rooster in particular. So I've really enjoyed your energy. It's been beautiful. You must continue to do this podcast, because you are just, I love the way your energy is beautiful, for one, but I love the way you listen, because I talk a lot, because it's like 45 years of knowledge, just like downloading. I tend not to do podcasts for fear of just it's like talking too much, really. But I don't know, I was just drawn to yours because I like the whole Canadian American market. So I do very, very few, so I appreciate your time and inviting me on board.
I appreciate it. The fact that You don't. I know a lot of Tauruses and I love Tauruses. Like one of my good friends is a Taurus and we work so well together.
Yeah,
You have that grounding energy, but I also am a great listener and I love to hear the way people's minds work and what's
yeah.
hidden up there. I'm ready to listen and I want people to hear that because from there, I feel like I learn from other people's experiences and the way that
It's
their mind works as well. So feel free to come back on again and we can have another great conversation. This doesn't have to be the last one.
Rashida, you're very, very sweet. I'm sure you'll probably be exhausted up there thinking, I can't do another session with Hagen Fox, but it's very, very sweet. I will put that future invitation in my back
Definitely.
pocket. But you are a great listener. Honestly, it's a gift. When you host a podcast, that ability to listen. I got a great friend of mine, Venetia, nutritionist, 74 years old. I sit in absolute silence, right, in her company. I just listen. I just pose a question and I sit back and listen. I'm no different to anyone else. Knowledge is out there and it's beautiful, but you have to learn to just shut up and listen. You know what I mean? It's a gift, and not everyone has it. I didn't have it as a younger man, but it's so you're really very, very good. It's very easy to interrupt someone, and then and so I can't praise you highly enough, Rashida. It's been really relaxing and enjoyable, and also what you said about Taurus is interesting because there's a quincunx 150 degrees apart, and it's the two sun signs that sit either side of your opposite sun sign. They are the two secret soulmates of the so the one for everyone, the two signs that sit either side of your opposite star sign are your two secret soulmates. So in your case, it's Taurus and the other side is Pisces. They're your two
Nice.
secret soulmates, just for the record.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you again, Hagen. This is the Ultimate Human Experience Podcast. We are out. Peace.
Take care, Rashida. Thank you, man.
Take care.